and welcome back to the Niche Football Podcast, hosted by me, Calvin Campbell. The aim of this podcast is to focus on the more unique stories in football, the ones you may not have heard of. This podcast runs alongside Niche Football Journalism.co.uk in bringing you interesting stories from around the world, a more narrative and storytelling format than your usual football podcast, and one that aims to tell a unique story in every episode. That said, it doesn't mean we're opposed to having guests on, and there are some coming up, so keep your eyes peeled. So, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about Russia, not the political landscapes at the moment. Would rather not get into that. Let's just focus on a bit of football. Uh, Obviously, it's not very popular amidst all the happenings with Ukraine and the threats to other nations. Thankfully, this is a football podcast, so let's just focus on the Russian Premier League. So the league consists of the usual names, teams such as Zenit St. Petersburg, Ruma Kazan, and the Moscow clubs, CSKA, Spartak, and Lokomotiv. All clubs that have represented the country on the European stage. A country that has produced some of the excellent players, some really excellent players over the years. Yuri Zhirkov, Andrei Arshavin, and most notably Lev Yashin, or the Black Spider, often regarded as the greatest goalkeeper of all time. All that aside, though, we are going to come to the topic of today's podcast, FC Baltika Kaliningrad. Why are we looking at Baltika? Well, the interesting concept of Baltika is that although they are Russian, uniquely, they are over 650 kilometers away from Russia itself. The club is based in Kaliningrad, an exclave of Russia, which was claimed at the end of World War II. Kaliningrad is a small sliver of land located between the borders of Poland and Lithuania along the Baltic Sea. But why? Why does Russia own this area of land? Most significantly, Kaliningrad, a place of strategic importance. The land allows Russia to access to the ice-free port on the Baltic Sea, enabling naval operations for the nation. Famously, the vast majority of Russia's water access is frozen most of the year. So Kaliningrad is one of the very few access points to water that Russia has. Historically, the region was agreed to be transferred to the Soviet Union following the defeat of Germany in World War II, which was in part of a large redrawing of borders and the shifting of populations in Eastern Europe. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, um, officially announced Kaliningrad as a Russian exclave, and it has remained that way ever since. Switching attention to Baltica, it comes as a surprise that not much is written about the club looking back at the football, often lingering between the top two divisions in Russia. Usually, a geographically unique club is reported on much more often. The likes of the Welsh clubs in England, like Swansea and Cardiff, or the island clubs like Las Palmas in Spain. But not so much is said about Baltica. A unique location brings with it the usual barriers for professional football. The main one, obviously, being travel. Every single away game, the team has to fly. With the high number of Moscow teams, this is usually around 3 hours each way. Thankfully for Baltica, FC Ska Khabarovsk, might not have pronounced that right, but I'm not Russian, are no longer in the Russian Premier League, although they are in the first division. So this fixture did occur last season. The most easterly professional football team in Russia. A trip between the two clubs, including a layover in Moscow, most commonly can take around 14 to 15 hours. A 7,000-kilometer journey each way for an away game. You're not going to see many Sunday League teams doing that. But what can we expect of Baltica in this season? Uh, the start of the season has commenced, and they're chugging along quite nicely. They have been up and down for several years. They've made some signings which they hope will give them some firepower to once again compete in the Premier League. Notably, Nigerian forward Tenton Yene. The 25-year-old attacker shone last year for Arat Armenia in the Armenian Premier League, scoring 17 in 28 and helping the club to a second place finish. Following Tenton Yene to Baltica is fellow Nigerian Chinonso Ofor, another forward who has come in following a successful season at Bulgarian side Arda Karzali. Ofor has had stints in the MLS, Latvia, and Belgium, so he comes with plenty of experience. A big talking point signing is that of centre back Alexander Filin. The 29-year-old joins Baltica on a 3-year deal following a season at Khimki in the Russian Premier League. Khimki finished 12th last season, a respectable position. However, the Russian Football Union have not issued the club with a 25-26 Russian Premier League license due to accumulated debts. The club has since dissolved, giving opportunities for clubs to sign players at no transfer cost. Things are looking positive. Well, they did look positive in the pre-season, the new signings aside. The results were very acceptable. A 2-1 win away at Zenit St. Petersburg at the start of July, something they could build on, and something they did take into the Premier League campaign. But have they got enough? We'll soon see. Will they avoid relegation? Will they finish mid-table? Or would they perhaps challenge for the European places? The Russian Premier League is in full swing. The signings are looking good. And let's hope they can maintain the quality and keep up with the rest of the pack in the Premier League. They do have an advantage in every home game, geographically, with their opponents having to make the long journeys into mainland Europe, although Baltica do have to do this the other way around for every single away game. If Baltica can make their home a fortress, perhaps we can see a successful end of season for the club. So, if you know of any other geographical clubs like this, clubs playing in enclaves, please do let me know because they all deserve to have a story. And there goes the final whistle on this story. If you have any feedback, head over to the website and leave a comment in the articles that I write. All feedback is appreciated, even ways in which to improve the podcast. And if you did enjoy it, leave a 5-star review on Spotify. That would be incredible. Remember to follow all the socials at Niche Football Pod or Niche Football Journalism. And tell your friends and your family. More articles are available on the website, and there is now a substantial back catalogue of podcasts on Spotify and on the website as well, including some guests, some international footballers, some coaching, and some backroom staff of new clubs and international teams. Go check the website at nichefootballjournalism.co.uk. I thank you once again for listening. I've been your host, Kevin, and I'll see you at the next kickoff.